Good morning, all of you. Okay, I welcome you all back to the online education class brought to you by Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporation. I, Ms. RUHI YADAV, your science teacher, will continue with the same chapter, that is light and the formation of shadow. Let's recall what we have learned in the last session. Okay, now we have learned about the source of light, that the substance that emits light, we call them as source of light. In that, okay, then we had learned about luminous object, that is the object that emits light of their own is called as luminous object. Examples are the torch, the bulb, the sun, the star. Then we had learned about non-luminous object. Non-luminous is opposite of luminous. It shows that the object that does not have their own source of light is called as non-luminous object. Then we had learned about artificial source of light, that is the object, okay, that are made by man and that emit light are called as artificial sources of light. Then we all have learned about the property of light, that light travels in a straight line. Then we had also learned about reflection of light. Okay, now this acts as a source which emits light. Which kind of a source is it? It is luminous object. Object. Okay, now here what happens is this source emits light which falls on the object, and then this light is thrown back. This phenomena of throwing back of light from the object is called as reflection of light. Okay, when this reflected light falls on our eyes, we can see the object. Okay, so we have seen that the sun rays fall on tree. Okay, and then rays are then reflected back to our eyes, and that is why we could see the object, that is the tree. Now, as we all can see that if the object, if there is nothing in between, it will move. The ball is going to move, the marble is going to move. But if we place a block in between, what will happen? It will strike the block, and then it will come back. Similarly, if you emit a light from the source on the mirror, what will happen? It will again reflect back. The light is again reflected back from the mirror. Okay, this is called as the reflection of light. Now, if we put a torch light on an aluminium foil which has an irregular surface, you can see the image, but it is blurred image. But if you put the same torch light on the mirror, you can see a very sharp image of the torch light. Okay, and that is how on the mirror you can see your own image, right? So how is the reflection seen in the mirror? It is a sharp image. The size is also the same. Okay, and you observe yourself in the upright manner. It is not an inverted manner, it is an upright manner. Then we have also learned that the image formed is the colored ones. Whatever the color is of that object, the same color will be produced on the mirror also. Then we had learned about the pinhole camera. That is, a pinhole camera is a simple camera. Now, if this is an object, okay, and if you are making a small hole in here, what will happen? You can see the inverted image, okay, on the screen of the pinhole camera. Let's see how you all can make the pinhole camera. You have to take a paper. This is how you can make a pinhole camera with the help of a page at your home. Okay, now you're supposed to make a small hole with the help of a pin. Okay, and on the opposite side, you're going to apply a oil to make it translucent means to allow only some light to pass through it. Okay, now you are going to place a candle in front of the pinhole. Okay, when you burn it, switch off the light first. Okay, now what you all can see is, you can observe the flame, but this flame is in the inverted manner. Inverted. It is not erect, it is inverted. The position is inverted. Okay, now if you make 3 holes, you will be able to observe 3 flames from it. Okay, so how is the image that you have observed? It is inverted, not upright, it is inverted. Okay, now the size was somewhat diminished. Diminished matlab small in size, smaller in size. Original say it is smaller in size. Now the image is the flame, if you observe, it is colored. It is colored. Now this is the simple camera that you can make at your home. Okay, now you all can see the picture. Okay. Now how clearly you see the coins inside each of these piggy banks. Okay, if I talk about the pink piggy bank, okay, can you see the image of the coin fully, partially, or you cannot see this? Okay, now if I'm talking about piggy bank, tell me, can you observe the coins present in the piggy bank?
No.
Oh, okay, you cannot observe the coins. Now in this piggy bank, can you observe the coins clearly?
Yes.
Yes, we can observe the coins fully, or we can say very clearly. Now let us talk about this piggy bank. Tell me, can you observe the...
No. No, teacher.
Sure, you are not able to observe anything, beta?
Teacher, yes. Something.
Yeah, something. That is, we can call it as partially. Okay, partially. Matlab, we can see the coins slightly. Okay. So, the object, now this object, this pink piggy bank, okay. Now, this object does not allow the light to pass through it. Okay, and that is why we could not see the coins present in it. Now, such object, we will call it as opaque objects. We will call it as opaque object. Okay, so the object which do not allow the light to pass through them is called as opaque object. Now when we talk about this piggy bank, okay, now here the object allows the light, okay, the object that allows the light to pass through them fully, okay, they are called as transparent object. Okay, here the light could pass through the piggy bank fully, okay, and that is why we could see the coins clearly, and that is why we call this type of a piggy bank, this object, as a transparent object. Okay, now let us talk about the blue piggy bank. Now here if you see, the object allows the light to pass partially through it. Means what? Only some amount of light could pass through it. Okay, only some amount of light. If these are the lights which are coming, okay, only some amount of lights could enter. 1 or 2 lights could enter inside. And that is why we call them as translucent object. We call them as translucent object. Okay. So from this activity, we have learned that on the basis of the ability of the light to pass through the object, we can classify the object as, the first one is opaque object. If you see the picture properly, here the light gets obstructed over here only, the light could not pass through it. Okay, no light passes through it. So such objects are called as opaque object. Example is a bag. It is an opaque object. Next is a translucent object. Now, here only some amount of light could pass through it. If this is the object, only few lights could pass through it, and that is why this object is called as translucent object. Examples are sunglasses. And the last one is transparent object. Here, all the lights could pass through the object, and that is why we call this object as transparent object. Example is a window. Let's revise this once again. Opaque object. Objects which do not allow light to pass through them is called as opaque object. Example is a brick, chair, metal sheets. They do not allow the light to pass through them. Next is a transparent object. They allow all the light to pass through them. Okay, and that is why these objects are called as transparent objects. Example is a glass. We have a clear plastic. We have clean water. We can observe the image through the waters. We can observe the image clearly through the glass. And the last one is a translucent object. Okay, here the object will allow only few lights to pass through it. Okay, for that few light we are using a term called as partial. So the object which allows light to pass through them partially is called as translucent object. Okay, now you cannot see the object clearly, but you can understand there is some object behind it. So this is a translucent one, that is a frosted glass. This is translucent glycerin soap, and this is a wax paper. So we have learnt about the objects in detail. There are three types of objects. One is a opaque object, another is transparent object, and the third one is translucent object. Next, now let us learn about how the formation of shadow takes place. Now you can see a man in this picture. Now observe the pictures carefully. I might be asking you all the questions in between. Okay. Now tell me, this man acts as an opaque object, transparent or translucent?
Translucent.
Sure. Is he translucent? Can the light pass through this man?
Yes. No. Opaque object.
Okay, he is an opaque object. Okay, the man acts as an opaque object. Okay, now how is the formation of shadow taking place over here? Now during the daytime, okay, due to the sunlight falls on this man. Okay, now if you see, the sunlight could pass from all the side, but not through the man. But not through the man means the light in front of the man is blocked. Okay, and the light could not pass through him. So because of this, the dark image is formed over here. A dark image is formed because of the blocking of the light. Okay, now this dark image we call it as shadow. We call it as shadow. So what kind of an object is necessary for a clear shadow to be formed? It is the opaque object. Okay, now this dark patch that you see on the ground is called as the shadow. Okay, and the area of darkness is formed because of which object? Yes, you can. Yes, dear. Because of which object? Is it an opaque object or a translucent object or a
opaque object? Opaque object.
Now, students, see, shadows can be formed with a translucent object also, but that shadow will not be clearer. Okay, it will be very, it won't be clear. It won't be so dark. Okay, so here for a dark shadow to be formed, we require an opaque object to be placed in between. Now, this shadow is formed on the road. So this road we will call it as a screen. We will call it as a screen. And this man acts as an opaque object. And the source of light over here is the sunlight. Sunlight acts as a source of object. Now, See, you have normally observed these phenomena, the shadows. Okay, sometimes you have seen that the shadows are very long. Sometimes the shadows are very short, right? You have observed it. Sometimes the shadow appears on the east side, while the sun, while sometimes the shadow appears on the west side. So we'll find out the reason why this phenomena is taking place. Okay, now see, when the sun, you all know that the sun rises in the east. We all know that sun rises in the east. So see, when the sun is rising here, what happens over here is, just hold a minute. Okay. Okay, now what happens over here is the sun rays are falling on it. This is how the sun rays are falling. Okay, now if you see here, now if you take this as a perpendicular line, okay, now here the angle between, now the sun is on, sun is over here, so the angle between them is large. As you all can see that the angle between them is large. So what happens is, if the angle is large, what will happen? A longer shadow will be formed. A long shadow is formed. Okay, now if this is a perpendicular one and this, the angle over here is large, and that is why what happens is you get a longer shadow. Okay, because why you are getting a longer shadow? Can you tell me the reason? Scratch your brain. Why? See here, you are getting slanting sun rays are falling on this. Okay, so this rays could pass from here. The rays could pass from, wait a minute, from here, but this much part is blocked. Okay, in short, you all can understand that larger is the angle, longer will be the shadow form. Now, in the late morning, around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, what happens? The sun comes over here. Okay, now again, if you see the angle which is formed, okay, here the angle which is formed is lesser, and that is why the shadow formed is shorter. Because your source of light is present on this side, the shadow will be formed here. The shadow is formed here. In the last one, now see this part. Okay, now here if you see, this is the this happens during afternoon time, around 12 o'clock. What happens? The sun comes overhead. Okay, now the distance is very less. When it is overhead, okay, what happens is the shadow is formed just below it. The shadow is formed just below it. Okay, now again during the evening time, what will happen? Evening time pe the sun comes towards the west, sun sets in the west. Okay, so yahan par aa gaya, in the evening time again the shadow will be formed on this side. Getting it? So hope the formation of shadow is clear to everyone now. Okay, so if the angle is less, if the angle of formation is lesser, the shadow of formation will be short. Okay, if the angle between the source of light, okay, and here, if it is large, you will get a long shadow. In the morning time and in the evening time, you all get a long shadow. Okay, as it becomes afternoon, what happens? The shadow becomes shorter and shorter. Now from afternoon to evening, what happens? Again the shadow becomes long. Clear everyone? In the morning time and in the evening time, the shadows are long, and during afternoon, the shadows are the shortest. Okay, so what are the important. Now, what are the requisites? Requisites means what? What are important things that are required for the formation of shadow? What all things are important? First of all, you should have a source of light. Okay. Then, if you are doing this activity at your home, obviously the room should be less bright. Then you should, for the shadow to be formed, there should be a screen, or the shadow may be formed on a ground, or it can be formed on a wall. And then the most important thing is you should use an opaque object for the formation of shadow. So important things are source of light, the screen, and the opaque object. Okay. Now, can you all tell me, does this shadow gives the color of that object?
No.
No. Very good. The shadow does not give the color of the object. Okay. It shows only the shape of the object. It shows only the shape of the object. It does not give the color of the object. Okay, you can try this activity at your home also. Okay, you can tell your friend to stand, take a screen, or you can stand near a wall. Okay, and then tell another friend to throw light with the help of a torch on you. Okay, when you stand near the source of light, when a person is standing near the source of light, what happens is the formation of shadow on the screen is large. But when you move away from the source of light, that is away from the light of the torch, what happens? The formation of shadow becomes smaller in size. You can see this at your home also. Okay, you can practice with the help of your friend and find out whether the when is the shadow longer, when is the shadow shorter. Now this fun activity you can carry out at your home. Okay, with the help of your hands and fingers, you can make different shapes, maybe of a dog, of a peacock, of a bird. You can make it at your home. Okay. Now, do you know what is this? This we call it as a sundial. Okay, we call it as a sundial. These type of sundials were used during the times of kings and queens. Okay, now they used to make such kind of a sundial to know the timing. Okay, now how it used to work? It used to work on the basis of the shadows that used to fall on these ladders. Okay, जैसे जैसे shadows पड़ता था, on that basis they used to detect. Okay, what is the time? Okay, the biggest sundial we can observe in Delhi. Delhi mein there is a biggest sundial. Okay, it is there in Jantar Mantar, New Delhi. Again, such kind of a sundial you can observe again in Jaipur, in Allahabad. Okay, during the times of kings, they used to know the timings with the help of this kind of object. They are huge. They are huge in size. Huh? Now, in earlier times, okay, like the common people cannot use this sundial every time. Okay, they cannot afford it. So earlier times, what used to happen? They used to make a sundial like this. Even you all can make with the help of a stick and a thermocol plate. Okay, or a paper and a stick. So when the shadow used to fall, see, you can see the formation of shadow. If the shadow falls over here, they used to detect the timing accordingly. When the shadow used to fall over here, they used to detect the time accordingly. With the help of the formation of shadow, they used to detect the time. Clear? I hope the sundial is clear to you all. It is an instrument. This is an instrument that indicates the time. That indicates the time with the help of the extent and the direction of shadow. Now, how much is the shadow falling over here? If the shadow is falling till that extent, this extent, they will detect the time. If the shadow is falling over here directly, then they will detect that it might be afternoon. If it is falling over here, okay, they will detect the timing of the evening. Okay, this was the clock used by the kings. And this is the clock which was used in the earlier times by the common people also. Okay, you can use directly a stick and a paper, and you can try this activity at your home also. Now see this. He is the scientist, Indian scientist, Sir C.V. Raman. Okay. Now he presented his research work on the scattering of light. Okay. He presented the research work on the phenomena called as scattering of light. That is, the light scatters. I've told you that the light is white in color and it is made up of 7 different colors. Okay. So the scattering property was given by C.V. Raman, and this property of scattering of light, he called it as Raman effect. Now, because it was discovered, okay, on 28th February 1928, okay, we celebrate this event, okay, as the National Science Day on 28th February. So now you remember why we celebrate National Science Day, okay, to remember his work, okay, that is on 20th February we celebrate it. Next is, now due to the scattering of light discovered by C.V. Raman, sir, okay, we can see the rainbow-like pattern formed on the CD. When you take the CD in the sunlight, you can see the rainbow-like pattern. This is due to the scattering of the light taking place. Now see this. You all can practice, you all can do this activity at your home also. Okay, make a circle, divide the circle into 7 different parts and color the, the 7 colors of the rainbow. That is Vibgyor. We use the short form Vibgyor. Okay, that is the violet, okay, indigo, then you have brown, blue. You can name all this, you can just color this green, yellow, orange, red. Okay, you can use all the 7 colors of the rainbow. Equal parts में divide करके you are supposed to color this. Okay, and then you can make such a disc. Now this such kind of a disc was made by Sir Isaac Newton first time. Okay, now with the help of this disc he could say that the light is made of 7 colors. He did one activity. I'll show you the activity also. He did one activity because of which when he rotated the disc at a high speed, he found that all the color gets mixed and you get to see a white color. And through this, he could say that he could, he came to a conclusion that the light is made up of 7 colors. Okay, the light which is seen as a white color is made up of 7 different colors. And the mnemonics that we use to define the 7 colors is Vibgyor. V for violet, okay, I for indigo, B for blue, G for green, Y for yellow, O for orange, R for red. Okay, so sunlight is made up of 7 color. Okay, he could prove this with the help of a disc called as Newton's disc. Okay, I'll show you the video. Now, if you make the disc like this and if you try to rotate it, wait. Now, when you rotate this disc at a very high speed, now the speed is low. Now see, you can see the white color. When you rotate it at a very high speed, you could see the white color formation taking place, which shows that the light is made up of 7 colors. The formation of white color is because of the 7 colors. Okay, so till now we have learnt about luminous object, the non-luminous object, the opaque object, transparent object, translucent object, the screen, and the shadow. Okay, so we'll just revise whatever we have learned till now. We all know that light cannot pass through an opaque object, through the transparent object. Okay, what happens? All the light can pass through it. through translucent object, some light can pass through it, or we can say that only partial lights can pass through it. Okay, for the formation of shadow, what is important? Opaque object is required, a screen should be there, and a source of light should be there. Okay, then what is shadow? The area of darkness formed when an opaque object comes in the path of the light is called shadow. And then shadows do not always give the actual size of the object. They do not give the actual size of the object, not necessary. Now we'll move to the assessment part. Before that, I'll give you 30 seconds, revise the summary. Okay, now we'll move towards the assessment part. Now the first question, I want all of you to give the answer, okay? The image formed in the pinhole camera, is it inverted or is it erect? The image formed in the pinhole camera.
Inverted.
Very good. It is an inverted image. Okay, you get an inverted image. Now, this question, light is propagated in a straight line or the curved line?
Straight line.
Very good. Very good.
Straight line. Straight line.
It's in the straight line. Now, true or false? The question is, light must be reflected from the surface of an object for the object to be seen. True or false?
True.
Very good. Okay. For the object to be seen, the light must be reflected from the surface of the object. Answer is true. Now the next, true or false? When oil is applied on a paper, it turns transparent. Is it true or false? Transparent or translucent? True or false?
Translucent.
Translucent. So this statement is true or false?
False.
Very good. The statement is false because it allows, when we apply oil on the paper, it allows only some light to pass through it. Okay. So it should turn translucent and not transparent. Now, give one word. The object which does not allow the light to pass through it. Will it be opaque, transparent or translucent?
Translation.
Sure. Which does not allow the light to pass through it. Which does not allow the light to pass through it. If it does not allow the light to pass through it, we cannot see that. So tell me whether it is an opaque object, transparent object or a translucent. Yeah, dear, I could not hear you.
Opaque.
Very good. It will be an opaque object, right? Okay. When, for example, if you are taking a chair, okay, can the light pass through a chair? No. So that chair will act as an opaque object. Now the next question. Object which allows light to pass through easily. Which allows the light to pass through easily. Is it an opaque object, transparent object or a translucent object?
Transparent object.
Very good. The object will be transparent because it allows all the light to pass through it easily. Okay, now this is the question that you are supposed to, okay, you're supposed to scrap your brain and answer this question tomorrow in your next session. Okay. The question is, when the birds or aeroplanes are flying at a great height, we don't see the shadows form on the ground. Why? So you're supposed to scrap your brain and be ready with your answer. In the next session, I'll be asking you the answer for this. Okay. Now this is your homework. Another homework is, you're supposed to study the object. Okay. Like for example, if notebook is there, you all know that. Can you see the light passing through the object? Okay. Can you see through the object? Can you see through the notebooks? No. You cannot see it, right? And that is why we place this notebook under opaque object. Similarly, you are supposed to write the answers for other objects also. Okay, so this will be your homework.
Okay, ma'am.
Here I'm ending the session. Do you have any doubts? If you're having any doubts, you can share with me right now.
No.
Okay. So bye everyone. Take
No,
care.
ma'am.
Bye, miss.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye, ma'am.